Today on the Diz List, we list the rides we think need the Tiana treatment.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Rob, and welcome to episode 101, where we list the rides we think need the Tiana treatment.
101 Dalmatians.
Wow, I didn't even think that.
Yeah.
My brain went another place, which is so random. This old skateboard company called 101 Skateboards from the 90s.
Yeah,
you remember that?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
My cousin was a huge skater, and so he had posters all over his wall of all the different companies and stickers everywhere, so I do remember 101.
Yeah, they were, all of their graphics, I won't even mention some of them, they're so upsetting. They would do like skate graphics that were the most like, well, I won't even get into it.
They were hardcore.
They were very hardcore, yes, yes.
So, I know you haven't watched. So we're talking about Tiana's treatment, right?
Yeah.
What we mean, just so let's preface what we mean. We think there are rides in Disney World that could benefit from newish IP being injected instead of the old stuff, or maybe it's not even themed at all.
Or one of the ones I have is the current IP, just making it similar to the newer animatronics and just like a giant upgrade.
Oh, okay. I didn't think of it that way, but that's a great idea.
Well, I mean, when we think of the Tiana's treatment, it's all kind of that big umbrella of, hey, let's just inject something awesome into this. Like the other example is, I think it's in Tokyo Disney, the one with the Beauty and the Beast one.
Yeah,
that's incredible too.
You're 100% correct.
Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Those animatronics are unreal, those new ones.
And I'll tell you right now that the reason that we kind of decided to do this was a little bit of, I think Rob's upset. I'm not. I know Rob. Yeah. Rob is kind of
a little bit.
I find it interesting that Rob, who we often joke with at work, and he's gotten better. I'm not insulting him. We joke with him that he's the spoiler.
I'm trying.
Yeah, you've gotten a lot better.
I just get so excited to talk about this stuff sometimes.
No, I know.
And I get it from Disney's perspective too.
I 100%. So he's upset, and I think I understand why. That, like, there's all these spoilers out there, and you can see the whole ride. Like, why not let us see it? And it's easy to avoid, as creators, it's easy to avoid other creators posting YouTube videos of the ride through. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit harder to avoid. Mm-hmm. Disney parks, Disney Imagineering, Walt Disney World, literal Disney accounts posting them. Mm-hmm. However, I kind of like what Disney's doing. And here's why. This is what Universal does. They don't allow creators to go and spoil the fun.
Yeah.
They spoil the fun first, which allows them to control the narrative a little bit.
It's true.
So, they will turn the camera to the spot that they want you to look at, as opposed to a creator who may not. So that is one of the things that I think Disney is trying to do.
Well, I'm upset, but I'm not. So there's a couple things I need to say here. The first one is, when Guardians of the Galaxy opened, that's when Nick and I did our trip to Disney together. And we both said, hey, let's not watch any ride-throughs.
I'm so glad I didn't.
Yeah. So we didn't really know, and we wanted to kind of experience it for the first time. Now, with that said, this is totally different because we've been on this ride numerous times also together. We watched the fireworks on this ride.
Yeah.
So we know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a lot of these animatronics, but I guess I just didn't expect in a Disney public post, all of a sudden they're showing me the finale. And that's what I wanted surprised. I wanted to know, and I'm not going to ruin it for people now either.
Did you see this? Did you see the finale?
You told me it was. And again, we're not going to ruin it for listeners who don't want to know.
You said, was that the finale? And I said, yes. That's all. I didn't tell you.
Because I described what I saw.
Yeah, and I said...
And you basically confirmed that was the finale.
Yeah.
Because in the current finale, again, this isn't a spoiler because it's the old ride. In the old ride, my question for you was, is the giant riverboat there? And we won't give you an answer right now. But I was because they use.
You think how many of our listeners do you think haven't seen it?
Haven't seen it?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Maybe a quarter? That's hard to say.
I mean, Disney did this on purpose.
I bet if people listen to our podcast, they probably follow some different Disney organizations, and it's probably popped up in their feed.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, I don't want to spoil it for people, but...
No, I know. Yeah.
I've seen, I don't know, I think I saw two things. I saw, and I don't even know what the heck this was part of, but it was just Tiana on a climb.
Yeah. Yep.
And then what you told me is going to be the grand finale is all I've seen.
Okay.
And this morning, when I woke up, I was looking at some social media account, and one of them actually said spoiler on it. It said spoilers ahead. I went, okay, good, thank you. Scroll to the next one, and it says a view from the drop of Tiana's Bayou adventure. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't want to know what I'm sure it's different, and they decorated it differently. You know, it's my best comparison here is, what was that show with Ty Pennington, the Extreme Home Makeover?
Yeah.
That's what this is for me. This is Extreme Home Makeover,
but you want to
Tiana's edition.
But you want to walk through your own house? You don't
I want to walk in. I'll look at it this way. Like, I can see the house from the outside, and I can kind of see in through a picture window. So part of it was spoiled, but I want to walk into it and just get...
I also like to think that Disney still has hidden stuff that wasn't shown.
I hope.
But I
don't know, though. They had a full point of view ride through I saw on YouTube.
Good for them, though. This is what I'm sorry. This is them saying, you know what? You want to get your YouTube counts and stuff up, fine. But we're going to get ours up too. And I'm cool with it.
Yep.
You know, Universal does it. And Universal, we talk about how good Universal is all the time. So it is what it is, man. And personally, my feeling is because I won't lie. I watched the whole thing. I'm not going to tell you. I won't spoil anything. I've watched the whole thing.
And I'm sure it's awesome.
I think it's great. And I think that what bothers me is people are still complaining. And it's like, how can you watch that and say that Splash is better? It's not. Now you're just being contrarian for contrarian's sake.
And a lot of people are that way.
Yeah.
I think the only one it's hard to argue with is somebody, like I have a family member who has a disability, and she's a mental disability, and change is very difficult for her. She can deal with it, but it's difficult for her to do. So if it's somebody who has a disability and has a hard time with change, I get it. You know, that. But if there's people that are out there just, you know, what do you call them? The splashers or something?
Safe splashers.
There you go.
The safe splashers are some of the most toxic individuals on the internet.
That's too bad.
If you want to save Splash, that's fine. If you're listening to this and be like, wait, I love Splash. Cool. But you probably aren't listening to this podcast. At least if you are, and I would be shocked if you still listen to this podcast after a number of times I've said it. There's a group of save Splash people who like literally believe that movie was actually a good thing for racial relations.
Oh boy.
That's the group I'm talking about when I talk about the save splashers. I'm not talking about the people who are like, I love that ride. I love the nostalgia of it. And I don't even think of that movie when I go on that ride. Those people, I totally understand being upset. Mm-hmm. For a lot of people, Splash Mountain was their favorite. And I loved that ride as well. But
do they love the ride or
that's what I'm saying.
What do you love about it?
That's what I'm saying. Is like, I think if you now watch that ride through and still think that Splash was better, yeah, okay, I get it. You're not going to get Zippity Doodah. You're not going to get those things. But, you know, like, you're still getting different things.
I know. It goes back to Walt saying it's not a museum.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing that Disney did. I'm kind of glad they did it. I think it's smart on their part to kind of take and control the narrative a little bit. I thought it was awkward the way it was released because it was like, hey, by the way, I'm the guy who wrote the finale song, and I'm going to go down it.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, why him?
I don't know.
I was kind of surprised.
I don't know.
Which, by the way, that was released on 5/29, May 29th. That video was released. There was clearly some editing done, and it was released to the public on the 29th. I suspect that means that he wrote it sometime around Memorial Day weekend. And I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying. I'm not
it
patting
was ready.
myself.
It was ready by
I'm
Memorial
not
Day
patting
weekend.
myself on the back. I'm just saying. I may have said that.
It was ready by then.
I'm excited because we're going to get to ride it. But I'm also fearful about the crowds. It'll be interesting.
I have another unrelated one that kind of not blew my mind, but kind of caught me off guard.
Oh wait, if this is the thing that did Mikey send you this?
No.
Okay, I got another thing too. Go ahead, play it.
All right. So let me ask you this, and is this a setup? Absolutely, it is. But just play along, okay?
Okay.
It's not to make you look stupid.
No.
So say the first 10 words to the chorus to the song that the Seven Dwarfs sing.
I'm gonna stop you. This is the one Mikey sent me this yesterday.
Oh, this is the same thing?
Mikey sent me this yesterday. It's absolutely it's bonkers, dude.
But what?
Wait, no.
Just tell
Mikey,
me.
Was it Mikey or was it?
Somebody sent this to us.
Yes.
Play along.
No, okay, I'll play along.
What did you do?
Oh, I freaked out.
Probably what are the first 10 words? Because I promise mine's the same answer.
Yeah. Hi ho. It's off to work we go.
Right.
And
okay. So now let's play the song.
Yeah. Well, mine was sufficiently blown.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. It's home from work we
Yeah.
go.
Home from work.
And I lost my
Me too. I feel like my whole life I've been singing "It's off to work we go."
Yeah. So this was sent to me yesterday, and I said that's wrong. It's wrong. Whoever sent that to you is wrong.
And then the video is the guy puts on the vinyl,
but it's a weird vinyl because it's super fast, and I don't
Yeah.
know if maybe he has it in the wrong RPM, but they sound like the Chipmunks.
right?
And I remember I was like, no. So I called my daughter over, and I was like, what are the words? And she says exactly what everybody else would say.
It's off to work we go.
Correct.
Yeah, I did too.
And then I was like, nope, it's not. And we listened, and I was like, what the heck is going on? So then I tried to find anywhere on any version, and I couldn't. I was like, what is going on? It was Mikey who sent it to us.
Okay.
To me.
Thanks, Mikey.
I don't know who sent it to you.
Oh, he probably did.
Okay. So Mikey is a patron and also a good friend. And he sent that, and I wrote back, I go, wait, what? And then I listened to it.
Yeah.
He goes, I just pulled up Spotify. I said, I'm literally doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out. Like, I shouldn't get that upset about this, but I was like, I feel like I've been told a lie.
Yeah.
It's like the whole Berenstain versus Berenstein Bears. It's a Mandela effect that, like, you think you know something for so long. Or, I mean, there's stuff with Star Wars, too. Like, Luke, I am your father.
I thought of the same one.
Yeah.
That was the first one I thought of.
So,
yeah.
like, the whole thing is just, to me, when I heard it, I was like, there's no way. And I actually said to my daughter when we listened to it, I go, oh, we got an opening for tomorrow. So I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting for you to get done doing what you were going to do.
And you were going to say the same thing.
100%.
So then I thought about it a little bit more. And then I thought about the movie and how they are working when they start singing that. And then they do go home. And that makes total sense.
Oh, yeah.
But for years, we would
who
sing
the heck
it the other
whistles
way.
to go to work?
Oh, I was going to say that too.
Right?
Like, you and I are skipping out of the building when we leave.
Yeah. Hi-ho, hi-ho. Oh, man. We've only got a couple weeks left.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Welcome to June, folks.
Whew. And then it's our Disney trips. That's where my mind is.
Yeah, I'm all ready. I've got 35 days. 35 days.
Yeah,
I'm excited
ready.
for it.
I'm ready to book dining.
One more thing, just because I do want to put it out there because it is kind of Disney news. It's Disney news in my realm more than others, but it is every once in a while I'll interject some of the DVC stuff, despite what Your Scouts Rob likes to say that I'm always talking about the DVC cult, but
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
It's all right.
So if you are somebody looking to get in to the poly and own points on the poly, I would say buy those points sooner rather than later because the resale value has skyrocketed.
Really?
It's gone up $45 a point in the last month.
Sheesh.
Like so high that I was considering like, do I sell all my points and then buy back direct? Because there are some benefits for direct.
Yeah, you were saying that before.
Because then I can buy annual passes that are Florida resident passes, so I don't have to buy the Incredi pass.
That makes sense because
So
technically you own property in Florida.
Right. I mean, I still technically do now,
Right.
but I'm not a direct owner. So
That's cool.
So that and like there's discounts on food and drink. But so if you are somebody who is like, I can't wait to stay at that new poly, you may want to go and purchase points. If you are somebody hearing this and you want to go stay at the new poly and pay cash, this is releasing June 5th. I believe yesterday, June 4th, 2024, you were eligible to do that. So I would go on and try to get that. You know,
Or if we have listeners, again, I say this all the time. If you want Nick to spend some time talking about how this whole process works, if you're listening going, I have no idea how this works, but I'm interested, let us know.
yeah, sure.
We're happy to do even like a little short, little bing bong
Yeah,
episode.
little Patreon mini sized, but release it to the public. But I just want to let you guys know that stuff is happening. You will be able to book those things cash because they haven't sold any points yet, obviously, because the points don't go on sale. I'll be interested to see the point charts when it comes out. But I did want to add that in the front half here. When we head off, we're going to head off to the halftime show here. I want to say again, thank you so much to all the patrons who participated last week. It was amazing to read your stories and to hear what you had to say. It's every time that we get a new patron, every time that we get a message from a patron, Rob and I really feel, like they're part of, they're joining our family, and it's so cool to have that.
And every time I say the same thing, I can't believe people care about this. So,
I mean,
thanks. If you're listening right now, this is for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Cool.
this week's episode, or this week's halftime, I should say, is brought to you by none other than Lindsay G. So
Cool.
Thank you so much, Lindsay.
Thanks, Lindsay.
And thank you to all of our patrons for the support over the last couple of years. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the things that we believe deserve the Tiana treatment in Walt Disney World.
I deserve the Tiana treatment.
What?
I need to be redone. I was a little sore after sitting on the bleachers for 3 hours.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
stood up and like all my bones like cracked and creaked, and
yeah, that's
I think probably about 4 hours I sat in one spot on those metal bleachers.
I could have sat down yesterday. I've got a Band-Aid on because I got blisters on my thumbs from trying to shovel a whole bunch, dig a bunch of dirt out for our annual July 4th, which is coming.
Nice.
But I'm redoing some stuff around the house.
I was thinking about that the other day. What day do you leave for your trip? You're here for July 4th?
July
and then-
7th.
Okay. You go right after. Okay.
Yep, we leave July 7th. So for all you stalkers out there, you can find me.
No, it's fine. I want people to come up to us.
Yeah. Well, as long as they're not like weirdos, we're good.
Nick, we're all weirdos.
That's true. We're Disney weirdos.
Yeah, we're all weirdos. So just get used to it.
True. What? This is so off the rails now.
I love
all right.
it. I
all
love
right.
it.
So,
We're telling it like it is. We're
True.
all weirdos.
so what do you got for your number 5 ride or attraction?
So this one, they're all kind of different in their own way. For me, I'm kind of looking at is how am I going to upgrade all these rides, or how am I going to put something new or something old? So I'm going to start with Peter Pan, because Peter Pan, I'm sticking with Peter Pan, but Peter Pan is appropriate for some certain reasons that the other ones maybe not as much. So Peter Pan still has the scene where they have, and I'm saying this, that the Indians. They're still using that term.
Yeah.
They call them the Indians, which, especially in our area, we have a large Native American population. We have the Seneca Indians, and it's the Iroquois area, right? Is that correct?
Iroquois, but yeah.
Okay. Well, he knows. And in that movie, they're still kind of referred to as Indians, which isn't really something that their culture really embraces. So I was thinking, okay, let's do two things with the ride. And I think part of it's okay. Like, I think when you're flying over London, that works. I think of some of those characters at the end, maybe where Peter Pan is having this sword fight with Captain Hook, that it could use some upgraded animatronics and also change some of the things to maybe, okay, well, we probably shouldn't use this term. Maybe we take out that part with the quote unquote Indians in that. So when I think of Peter Pan, it's funny too, because if you were to do that to this ride, you would have so many people that were upset because it's such a classic Disney ride that is, not exactly, but nearly identical to the way it was originally. And people don't want those things to change. But maybe you make a couple little changes, makes a lot of people happy.
I don't disagree with you. In fact, my number 5 was also Peter Pan.
All right.
However, that's where the commonalities stop.
See, that's what's going to make this interesting. Yeah. Go for it.
I think, when I said the Tiana's treatment, I didn't just think about upgrading animatronics, which I do agree. That would be great.
Like I said, there's multiple levels to the Tiana treatment, quote unquote.
And another thing, by the way, they need to update or upgrade how that ride loads, because the reason that line is so long is not because of popularity, it's because it does something like 900 people an hour. Well, that's not a lot of people. So what I think should happen is it should be an up dark ride.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think I've even got it down to like what I think the ride vehicle should look like.
Yeah.
So right now we have a pirate ship with like the sail kind of like is the backside. You know what I mean? So you can't see behind you.
Yep.
So what if the backside was actually the house, the front of the house?
Cool.
And you were sitting on the porch.
That's great.
And there's balloons overhead or whatever. But I think the travels, because you go around the corner and all of a sudden if you went through the different spots that in that movie they go, I think that would be a great way to update this ride. I like Peter Pan. I don't know how much children like Peter Pan, right? And so
They used to.
So if you're gonna think, well, no, I don't mean they don't like it, but kids aren't seeking out Peter Pan stuff, right? I kind of feel like that ride is for the adults in the room. Do you know what I mean?
It is. It is.
And so people who would complain, I should say, about the Peter Pan's flight going away, they would be complaining because it's good for them. It's like the parent on the sidelines who's, maybe making it more about them than about their kid. The kid's totally fine playing defense, really likes defense, but they want their kid to play striker and score the goals.
Not me.
You know what I mean? No,
yeah, but no, I do.
Look, it's you have to stop and think about, who is this ride really for? Is it really for the Disney adult, or is it for the Disney child? And I think it's for the Disney child, personally. Not only that, but people who fell in love with Up are now adults.
I'm curious, now that you say that, let's say they pull kids walking out of Disney World at the end of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your 3 best rides you went on today.
Yeah, it's
for a kid, like a young kid.
Yeah.
I wonder how many kids would put that on their list.
I don't think a single kid would stand in that line for an hour and a half, leave that ride, and say, that was my favorite.
Worth it.
Yeah. Not a single, because I don't know many adults who do that.
Yeah.
Look, I understand that Peter Pan is a classic. I love Peter Pan. I think the story is great. I won't call him a hero because otherwise I'll get yelled at by Jessica.
Yeah.
But definitely I think that that particular ride needs updates in so many different ways. And people would say, well, you're going to take that capacity away. It is not. It does not have as much capacity as what you think, and that's why it's so long.
But that could be fixed too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if it was, you could even make it so that it is now, instead of like, I guess, technically you can fit 2 adults, 1 kid, 1 small kid in one ride vehicle. What if you made the ride vehicles different so you could hold 6 in each one or whatever? Like, I just feel like there's a way to, 1, increase capacity, 2, make it more relevant to today. And it's the same thought, right? You start off low and go high, and up you start off low and go high. And they could even at the end make it, you're coming back. Remember that the house comes back and lands on that precipice there. I don't know. No, I guess it's not a precipice, but you know what I mean, where it comes back and lands. So
I'm wondering what the back of the ride looks like and what it connects to. If there's space beyond the ride, because that could include new scenes and also help with capacity. Because it's very similar to an Omni mover, if not.
I mean, it is
considered an Omni mover.
It just doesn't load a lot.
So if you make the track longer, you include more cars, that's going to hold more people and increase capacity.
It doesn't really increase capacity, though, because when you think about capacity, it's how many people can you load per minute. It doesn't matter that those people are on there for 5 minutes or 1 minute. Because when I'm thinking capacity, I get what you're saying. It would increase capacity in that more people would be occupied at the time. It would not make that ride load faster. And that's the part of capacity I think they need to.
Right.
Like the load time on that is just so poor. Mm-hmm. So I think it's funny because I was like, this is going to be a hot take and people are going to get mad at me when I was writing it down.
Yeah.
And then you actually said the same thing.
A lot of these are going to be hot takes.
Yeah. I mean, I've got, yeah, definitely.
Me too.
So go ahead. Give me your number 4.
Well, speaking of hot takes, let's take the Jungle Cruise. You're looking at me because
I did not.
Let's take the Jungle Cruise. Let's keep it how it is. Keep the jokes. I like the jokes, but when there's areas where there's animals and they kind of pause, because there's big spaces for the jokes between each area where the animals are. In between where those animals are, Jungle Book. Throw Jungle Book in there. You got Baloo and Mowgli dancing around, and you can keep some of the current animals that are already there, but let's throw in some advanced animatronics that are similar to what you're going to see over at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and let's upgrade it with a different IP. You know, maybe even throw in, maybe it's 2. Maybe put Dwayne Johnson animatronic and Jungle Book. Like, make it both even. Who knows?
Can we get a Dwayne Johnson from the Jungle Cruise animatronic and also get a Dwayne Johnson as Maui?
And also The Rock Dwayne Johnson giving the rock bottom to Baloo from the Jungle Book?
That would be a bit intense.
That's his wrestling move.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I didn't even put it on my honorable mention. 1, people know already my feelings about this particular ride.
Yeah.
I don't like the ride.
Would you like it if it had cool, fun songs and
I'm going to be honest with you.
Advanced animatronics?
I would rather it just stay as it is or just go away. I think the advanced animatronics would be fine if they were redoing them like the scene that they just redid. I felt like that was a poor execution. I think that could have been better animatronics. The difference with those animatronics for this ride is everything's outside. And so the wear and tear on those rides, on those animatronics, is different than the stuff that you're going to see in Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
I wonder how often they have to repaint all of the Jungle Book animals.
Oh my gosh.
Because that sun just baking down on them.
Yeah, it's got to be frequently.
Yeah.
But I do think that this makes sense. I don't think it's wrong. For me, it didn't even make my honorable mention just because of the it is classic, and you would that's a hot take. I'm shocked that you said it. People probably are like, wait, Nick didn't say that, but yeah, I didn't.
I'm trying to get a little creative here. Think outside the box.
I do like the idea though. I mean, I personally think that's a lot of real estate for a ride that is basically the same as it was.
Well,
And they just the reality is they're not going to do anything because they just refurbished a whole bunch of stuff in it.
well, you're not okay. I've heard a couple podcasts recently that they've talked about, hey, there's a really good chance that they can put in another resort in and adjacent to Adventureland.
Correct.
And that there could be a second entrance to the park through Adventureland. Have you heard that also?
I've heard it, yes.
Well, maybe Jungle Cruise is in the way. And maybe they decide to finally do Fire Island or Fire Mountain over there.
Wow.
Because that was talked about a bunch too. I mean, they make way for the new hotel and they put in a thrill ride. Who knows?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I do think that that's one of the things that you're going to possibly see announced that we have not heard yet.
The hotel connecting to Adventureland.
Yeah, I mean, it's Disney's new thing, right? I mean, they see what it does in Paris.
And California.
Yeah, and so I think that you can see that. I can see that totally happening. My number 4 is not really a ride, but I took some liberties here. And this is something I have not mentioned. We've mentioned this attraction. We have not mentioned my particular thought on the re-theme. And that is the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. We've talked about how you could easily make that Star Wars and it's right by, blah, blah, blah.
Because it's adjacent, yeah.
But there is another stunt type family or group that resides in that park. And I think the Incredibles moving there would be pretty incredible.
Oh, I never thought of that.
So
you have people dressed up in those costumes.
yeah, I mean, it's not that hard to have. So I know they're not face characters when you see them in the parks. And they don't necessarily, I mean, I suppose you could find stunt people who would be willing to do it in those costumes. But there's no reason why you couldn't do an incredible stunt spectacular and have them be at least themed in that manner. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get Elastigirl actually being Elastigirl, obviously. However, there's no reason you couldn't do some other cool, like, superhero-ish stunts. Marvel, think Marvel type stunts, but think of that in a Pixar manner.
Right, where you can have a character who has powers similar to, I don't know, insert character here.
Right, and you could easily, I mean, not easily. I keep saying easily. You could even do, so like the Spider-Man stunts that are done over in California Adventure that it's not a real human being.
That I thought was a real human being.
Well, I mean,
I swear I thought it was real.
Okay.
It was so good. It really was.
So if they did something along those lines where it was partially real,
yeah,
partially like animatronic / whatever you want to call the thing over in California Adventure.
It convinced me.
If they do that, it would also, I think, be more attractive to kids. Indiana Jones is not relevant to kids, no matter how recently a movie has come out.
And it didn't do great in the box office. I mean, I went to see it. I love Indiana Jones, but I don't think kids care.
No, and
I just think it's, when you go to the parks, it's just the next thing to do.
Correct.
It's not like they want to do it. It's like, oh, well, let's just do this.
Right.
We're in the shade and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I think that attraction, like I've said it. I've said to my son, "Hey, you want to do that this summer with your uncle?" Nope. Has no interest. Now we might still do it
to get out of the
heat, and it's not really that. It's not like it cools you off. You're just maybe in the shade a little bit.
Yeah.
But we might do it, but it's not something that's on the list of like we have to do that. So I do think that a retheme there is worthwhile, and I think that going to an IP more relevant, like The Incredibles, is something that needs, I shouldn't say needs, but should happen. They could easily do, like I said, a mixture of animatronic or whatever that thing is in California Adventure with live action people, and make it pretty interesting. Or something along the lines of the Marvel or the Doctor Strange show you saw.
Mm-hmm. It was very cool. It was funny.
Something like that, but in The Incredibles and in that realm of superheroes. Because they don't need to worry about anything as far as, the Marvel rights.
And not to derail it, but it's a variety show, and Incredibles are part of it.
Yeah.
And then another group of characters comes
Absolutely.
Up. Maybe then it's Star Wars, or then it's Indiana Jones.
And I know that people are going to be upset, but the reality is that Indiana Jones is coming to a different park. So You're still going to have Indiana Jones in the parks, just not that one.
That's true.
So that's my number 4. What do you got for 3?
My number 3 is a ride I like to complain about a lot. It just seems so dated to me, and I don't want to retheme it because it's literally in the top 5 most popular IPs in all of Disney. I don't love this ride. It's just so cheesy. I just think it's Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. I get that it's fun. I know that people like it and it's competitive and whatever else, but it's just so cheesy on the inside. I want to see. So for, again, using the umbrella of we're going to Tianify this thing, in every area, in every room, I want 3 animatronics for each room. 1 is going to be Buzz, because Buzz is the hero and he's fighting Zurg. So 2 is Zurg. Every room has Zurg. Every room has Buzz. The rest of the characters, the aliens, whatever they can be around, I'm not even counting them. The 3rd is for every room, there is a different Toy Story animatronic. So each different room that they're in somehow is themed to that particular character. So there is a Woody room, there's a Jessie room, there's a Rex room, so that you will have huge animatronics for each one. So you're playing the game, but at the same time, you have some really high-tech, cool-looking animatronics.
I don't hate this idea.
I think it would be cool.
So it's on my honorable mention.
Okay.
First off. Second, as you started talking about how it's got to be Buzz and Zurg, I started thinking, does it? And here's what I thought. Multiple rooms. Think about the different movies. What if one room, it was you're battling Sid? What if another room, you're battling Zurg? What if another room, you're battling Al? Right?
Al's Toy Barn.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's trying to Lotso, or like there are so many villains, right? There's 18 of those movies, I think. So I think
they're making 19.
Oh, okay. Toy Story 19 is coming out, so we'll have to use that one. But they have all these villains already built in. I think that would be another way to do it. But and you could do some. Can you imagine a big Lotso animatronic like they're doing with Louie?
And then they pump the smell in the room.
Yeah. Well, how does he smell though for real?
But when they came out with the plush, each plush had the smell.
Right. My
but
point
in real
is more
life,
like,
he smells like trash.
Yeah, he's got to smell like trash.
They're not going to pump in the trash smell.
They pump in skunk smell.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I don't think it actually smells like a real skunk, though.
I think
like we drive by skunks all the time here in Western New York.
It smells like sulfur.
Yes.
That's what that smells like.
Yeah.
It smells like rotten eggs, maybe.
Sure.
Or Florida water. Sorry.
No, the Floridians listening, no.
For real though, like I agree with you. It's cheesy. You know what it reminds me of is like every teenager from 1990s bedroom.
Yeah.
Black lights, light posters, right? They went to Spencer's. They bought a bunch of velvet black light posters.
Yep.
And then replaced every light bulb in the room with black lights. And now they can't figure out why they have issues with their eyes.
And then they had a friend come over and said with a giant thing of Tide detergent.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yep. And the friend, while the other kid was, we'll say, sleeping, dips a brush into the Tide and paints all around all the blacklight posters as a surprise for when the person wakes up, they open their eyes and the whole room is painted because Tide has the same effect under a black light.
I completely forgot about Tide working. Yeah. You sound like you're triggered there.
No.
Do you have a friend do that to you?
Maybe the other way around.
Okay, I can see that too.
You're forgetting who's the artist in this story.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Wow. We just got a weird tangent there about black lights. But for real, that's honestly, it feels like that in there. Yeah. So I think that's a good idea. Yeah. I'm not going to argue with you on that. It is on my honorable mention.
I don't have any honorable mention.
Well, that was
this
on my
was hard enough to do 5.
Well, the reason I didn't put it on because I did not think of what the way you're thinking of it. You're thinking of just possibly in some of these just upgrading
some of them are ripping out the IP.
Right. And for me, I thought a full blown rip out the IP.
People are going to be mad with one of them.
Well, my next one they probably won't be mad with, and I'm actually going to use something that you already mentioned, and we've talked about this before. This should not be a shock to anybody. I want to change Cali River Rapids. It is awful.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe Rohde. I love you. This is awful.
I know.
Jungle Book. Period. End of story. Jungle Book. Huge animatronics.
Yep.
Really big story. put them under cover somehow so that you don't have to worry about the how the elements might destroy them.
And we've heard multiple times that well, maybe the listeners haven't, but that was supposed to be double the size. And there was all this land behind it, which I don't know if there still is or not, if they've developed it or made it into, care areas for animals. If it is, I don't want to change that because obviously the animals are the priority.
Yeah, I'm not sure the topo map. So.
But you could expand that area and really make it, because the ride is short too. That's my other issue with it.
And you wait and you wait and you wait. And that queue is hot.
I feel like every
time you get on it and you get soaked, or you don't. It's like, it's weird.
It's just I feel like it's been a humid, gray day the few times we've ridden it. And for the rest of the day, I just feel like, I don't know, like a human slushy,
I might do it this year. I don't know. I can tell you, if I do it, my wife won't. She absolutely hates this ride. And I think if there was like more redeeming quality IP in it, it would be better.
Yeah.
There are some people who think this ride is well themed. Can you believe that? Like, oh, what are you talking about? It's not well themed. Like, okay, cool. I smell the scent of burning trees, and I get they're trying to tell a story, but they're not telling a story because there's no speakers. There's nothing telling me.
Well, another one that I just thought of that I never thought of before. They're already putting Indiana Jones into the park. Let's do another Indiana Jones. And do you remember in Temple of Doom when they're riding the raft in India?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't do that.
Are they in India?
I don't know.
I think that movie takes place in India. I'm not sure.
I'm not gonna lie. It's been a long time since I've watched those movies.
But they fall out of the airplane in the raft.
Oh yeah,
You remember that part?
I totally know which part you're talking about. I just can't remember what.
All right, listeners, let us know.
But I just think that ride needs this. Like, my bottom two were like, okay, because it was hard. My bottom two were like, all right, well, what do I need? My top three are like, dude, these rides need to be fixed and in a hurry. And I think that's a good way to do it. And let's be honest, like, you shut this ride down multiple times a year to clean it out anyway. Shut it down for a full year.
Yep.
Get it done with. You already are destroying the capacity at that park as it is for a large portion of time when you shut down Dinoland.
Yep.
So to me, what's going to end up happening is they're going to shut down Dinoland. I think they finish that, then they can turn, because they've said they're going to put a lot of effort into Animal Kingdom. So I hope that when they're done, there's at least 10 attractions there. Right now, I think there's 6.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, but all right. I mean, so it's low. But all right, so that's my number 3, Cali River Rapids being rethemed to a Jungle Book. I agree with all the same animatronics you talked about. I just don't want them at Jungle Cruise. I want them at Cali River Rapids.
Okay.
So
one or the other, it needs to happen, I think.
Yes.
Number 2. Number 2 is one of your favorite rides, favorite attractions, and it is the People Mover.
Whoa.
So my idea is in any of those indoor dark areas of the People Mover, the speed of the People Mover ride vehicle slows down, and on the inside, there's going to be scenes, quote unquote. And I'm not going to say specifically what. I mean, there's so many options. It could be something from Toy Story or something from Tron or a Star Wars scene. But in those interior scenes there, kind of like where they have the original Epcot layout, take it out. There's so many dark areas in there that you could hollow out that area and put in something cool in there.
So they put some black light posters.
That would be terrible. Wait, no, you do get to see them. No, you do get to see them though, because you get to see that Buzz Lightyear ride.
I know.
So that would be the area where you would paint with Tide. But I just think that ride is great. But let's inject it with some IP and put something in. I know you're not happy.
Yeah, this is tough.
I think it would really, really help and bring more interest to that part of the park, to know that when you're riding the ride, you get these beautiful, relaxing things, and then you go inside and you see these really exciting scenes. So
I kind of now know.
I think that would be fun.
I now know how people who loved Splash so much felt. That's what, when you're saying this, that's just like, I can feel a little bit of me die.
Yeah. Still relaxing, still fun. Just make it a little extra fun with some animatronics, maybe singing us a song, or you're inside of the Death Star for a minute and there's Darth Vader and maybe Luke is clinging to that pole before he falls. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm so the way I feel right now.
Wow, you're rarely speechless.
The way I feel right now is like the lyrics from Heart Shaped Box. If you know what I'm talking about, you know.
Yeah.
And I won't say the lyrics because it conjures an image.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, I disagree. That's all I'll say.
I believed you were going to disagree, but I thought this would be a
So this is not when you said
fun update.
I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, this is better than what I thought you were going to say. I thought when you said it's a ride you like, I thought you were about to tell me you're going to redo Living with the Land, and I was about to jump over this desk.
Nah.
I was like, what?
No, because
Okay.
that solves a totally different. It serves a different purpose.
Yeah.
I think. Like you're
Look.
actually learning something. I don't want to take. I don't know. I say that now, and I'm going to eat my words on this next one. So go ahead.
Listen, not living with the land. People mover. I disagree, but I would still ride it because it does offer those relaxing things. I would like to see them change out. So just as an aside, I would like to see them change out the Epcot area. You know when you go through and you see the model?
Yeah.
I'd like
I'm
to see them.
picturing in my head some cool animatronic.
I'm saying,
in
like,
there.
what if they did a rotation of things there? Like, I don't know. I mean, if you're on People Mover, you probably already know all about Epcot, right? Put something else in there that maybe you don't know about.
Well, it's kind of what I'm saying.
Okay. Do we still get to go through Space Mountain?
Everything's the same. We just add in animatronics and scenes.
Okay.
The ride is the same. We're just adding to it.
All right.
We're not taking away anything that currently exists, other than maybe. I guess it would have to be that part where they show the layout of Epcot.
Okay.
So,
All right.
think about it. There's a lot of times, especially when you get over by Space Mountain,
100%.
you're just in the black.
I know. Yeah.
Follow it out. Put in something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or projections even.
Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Almost. Yeah. I would get behind projections maybe that could change. Like I think like a holiday overlay
Sure.
would be kind of cool.
Some Christmas music inside.
Yeah. I could get behind that.
Maybe something from Nightmare Before Christmas, since they don't do the overlay at Haunted Mansion.
Yeah. I think that would be okay.
I don't know.
I
I don't dislike the ride, and you know that.
I know.
It's an easy place to add some.
You just wanted to ruffle my feathers. It's okay.
A little bit.
Speaking of feathers, no, I'm just kidding. This has nothing to do with feathers.
Oh, I thought you were going to go to Tiki Birds or something.
No, oh my gosh, you think I'm going to change my?
I don't
Tiki
know.
Birds?
I thought about it. I'm like, there's no way you can do anything to it.
Yeah, they tried. Yeah,
and it
under
was a
new management
disaster.
it was horrible.
Yeah, they added 2 new animatronics and yeah.
So mine is Grand Fiesta Tour, and right now, my son is in the back seat yelling at me, "Dad, how could you do this to me?" No, I think, and I know that we're getting a Coco ride. Well, I don't know. We're pretty certain we're getting a Coco ride that I believe is going to actually utilize that new technology they patented. That's like the new Soarin' 2.0, they call it. But I think a Grand Fiesta Tour switch over to Coco would be amazing.
Yeah.
Where you're floating maybe you're on a river still, but you're going through the streets of that city. Is it a city? Whatever that
It's a city.
whatever that place is.
It's called a village.
No, I'm talking about
Town.
I'm talking about when he is in the afterlife.
Oh, with all the bright, colorful buildings.
Yes,
and-
because
okay.
it's a dark ride and you can easily do it, right?
Yeah.
So you start in the village and then you go past the scene that maybe you're passing through the bridge or maybe you're going through the ofrenda, whatever the case may be, and then you come around and you're back to you've made it back through the afterlife. But
That could be
Coco,
cool. Pump in the smell of the marigold petals.
yeah,
That'd be cool.
I just think that it just needs to change. I love Donald. Donald is definitely my favorite of the classic characters, but this ride is so dated and just so like it rarely has a wait of more than 5 minutes. Although the other day, Memorial Day weekend, there was a line out of the pavilion. Yes, so Rob just made this like weird like shocked look. There was a video posted where somebody started at the ride and videoed the whole walk, and they went outside. They were starting outside of the pyramid, and there was somebody holding a sign.
Well, it'd be okay if the line went to the margarita stand.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's like this should be the line for La Cava, not for to go see Donald singing with his friends. With was it
Jose.
Jose
And Panchito.
Yeah, Jose and I was gonna say Panchito.
My son's favorite
Yeah,
is
so
Panchito.
so yeah, I think it's an easy. I know it's like this is like the low hanging fruit. Just retheme it to Coco, but you want to get kids to show up. You want to get kids. You want to talk about capacity. If that line was like that every single day, think about how much better the capacity would be at other rides.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want a ride to have a 5-minute wait like that does. You want it to have a 15, 20-minute wait because that means that you're doing something that's worthwhile. Right now, people are going on that ride because, oh, I'm in the Mexico Pavilion. I guess I'm going to go do it. They're not going into the Mexico Pavilion to do a ride. They're doing the ride because they're in the Mexico Pavilion shopping.
I remember in the 80s that the ride line would go all the way to the doorway and up. You know how you can go, you can go to the right or go to the left and walk down. And
100%. Yep.
I remember that line definitely went up to the top of that left side of the ramp, and that's where we started the line to get on that ride. I can remember that.
Well, that's what we want, right?
Yeah, and it was new in the 80s, and yeah.
You want that ride to be like that. You want it to then lessen the wait at Remy's. You want it to lessen the wait at Frozen. You want it to draw people into that pavilion. You're going to see added sales in those shops. I'll bet there are people who don't know that the Mexico Pavilion is the Mexico Pavilion. Like that they've never even been in the pyramid. I'll bet you that they go to the margarita stand outside, or they go get their tacos and they keep going.
Or they think that's a restaurant in there and they don't even think there's a ride in there.
I would be willing to bet that's the case.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So yes, that's my number 2 is to get rid of Tres Caballeros.
All right.
Grand Fiesta Tour.
My number 1 will make some people mad. So here it is. Notice I didn't start with an apology.
Okay.
You're going to take Spaceship Earth.
Oh my gosh.
And you're going to gut it.
So this is on my honorable mentions, but I couldn't think of what to do, so I'm interested.
It's going to be WALL-E.
Oh my gosh, I had WALL-E written down at one point.
Here's why it's going to be WALL-E.
Yeah.
Because it is a tale to our world.
It's a cautionary tale.
Correct. So it fits in with what you would think of Epcot. Nick's looking around. Nick's like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've seen the movie, definitely one of my favorite Disney Pixar movies. For so many reasons.
Documentary.
It is. It's somebody traveled to the future and came back and made that movie.
Who would have thought people would be just like on their phones all the time?
Think of that scene where there's WALL-E and Eva and they're in space and there's the stars coming across. Imagine getting to the top of Spaceship Earth and going into where you can see the top of the dome, and you have a giant animatronics of both of those robots in the air, and the stars kind of sprinkling across with the music. And then on the way down, where you put in like all your information, it's something that's related to conservation or saving the earth or
the whole. So the irony, though, of humans who are stuck on devices,
yeah, right,
like riding through this ride would be hilarious.
Yes, it would.
I mean,
think of all the great scenes.
It gets even better, Rob.
Yeah, sure.
Because they're probably on that device,
ordering
mobile order. It's like straight up. This movie is real.
I know.
That's why I jokingly called it a documentary, but
no,
it's not
crazy.
that far off.
But just to end, I mean, think about where you start at the beginning of Spaceship Earth and you see like the caveman projection, right? In that big room. Well, that can all be converted into projections that are the piles of trash, and you can have the animatronic of WALL-E going back and forth, and then you come around the turn and you get to see maybe the plants coming out of the boot, and then eventually you're in space, and then the spaceship, and then have all the funny people with their drinks. They're like slushy drinks, and they change from red to blue.
And then put your face on it.
What? Oh my, that'd be funny.
Yeah,
you could.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But
I know that's a hot take, and it's my number 1 because I just love WALL-E. And if they were to get rid of Spaceship Earth and all the history in that ride, that would stink. But I don't know. I love Wally. I would be so pumped.
You know what's interesting though?
to
They
do that.
they could keep the theme. So right now, Spaceship Earth starts. Okay, we got hieroglyphics, and then we go to this,
history
and
of communication,
right?
Yeah.
So like, if they went through those scenes and slowly showed, not just like instead of the science stuff, or the communication stuff, slowly showed like the Earth getting more and more trashed. Right?
And then they end
landfills.
with Wally.
They could pump in landfill smell. It'd be great. I'm just kidding, obviously. So
it's not terrible.
No, I wrote. Listen, I had Spaceship Earth on my list at one point.
Yeah.
At number 5, and I wrote Wally ? And then I was like, I don't know how you would do it, and so I took it out. But it's not as hot a take, I think. I love. Don't get me wrong. I love Spaceship Earth. We have one listener, Caleb. If he's listening, is probably yelling because this is his favorite ride. But it is what it is, man. Like, I don't necessarily disagree.
Disney's not a museum.
Correct. Mine is not a hot take. Mine is something we have said
We should
over
probably
and over.
end with a cold take. That's a good thing.
Mine is something we have said over and over and over again, but there needs to be IP put into Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yep.
Period. End of story. And we say Muppets, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Here's another thing. I'm going to throw this out there. There's no reason that if they didn't buy some of the Marvel stuff, that they couldn't possibly make that like an Iron Man ride or something like that. But Rock and Roller Coaster is not good. Period. End of story. Come at me. Okay?
I would like to say something, and Nick hasn't heard this yet on air. I found a good Aerosmith song.
What?
I found one.
Listen, I do not hate Aerosmith. You do.
I do. And I've seen them in concert, too, because they did a tour with Kiss. So I've seen them before.
Didn't they tour with Greta Van Fleet, too?
Probably.
So, I don't know.
And they do have, and this came on the other day, and I was thinking, I'm like, do I want to switch it? I don't like Aerosmith, because it was on like a mix or a playlist, and you know me, that song comes on, I'm like, all right, I don't want to deal with Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Like, I've just kind of, it's almost like comedic how much I dislike the group, and then this part comes in.
Well, I mean, it's a good song.
Right here.
Yeah.
And I went, all right, this song's pretty good.
Yeah. That beginning is pretty sweet, actually.
It is.
But it still doesn't make it so, like, I wouldn't want them to put that song on the ride.
No.
Like, it's just not.
That's a slow one.
Listen, whether you're an Aerosmith fan or not, you have to admit this is not a good. It doesn't fit anything. First off, you're in Hollywood studios, right? Second, it's a band with no relevancy to today's public.
If anything, negative publicity.
Right.
Because of, I'll say, allegations. I don't know the story,
Yeah.
and I don't care because I don't care about Aerosmith. But I know there were allegations against the singer of Aerosmith.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah. And that band is from the Northeast. They're not from Hollywood. They're from Boston.
Yep.
Like, you're not even dealing. I don't know. Whatever. Hollywood Studios is supposed to be also like the thing that celebrates the studios. Like, do something from like a fictional movie band. Then I don't know. Like,
it's funny to me every single time that I see it's going for refurbishment, and I'm like, yes, this is it.
and then Disney has to come out and say, "Oh, by the way, we're not retheming it.
Yep,
we're not
every time.
retheming it."
And I'm like, man, come on.
You're gonna be there after it reopens. I will not. It's
Yeah,
reopening
end of July.
I think July. Is it July 20 something? I don't know, but it's gonna be open after I'm there, which means Hollywood Studios is gonna be even more mobbed because of that.
I'm going to
being
try
closed.
to take a picture of me on the ride with Aerosmith in the back, like rolling my eyes.
Can you take a picture of that spot in the queue or whatever where you're like the pre-show there?
Oh my God.
What should we do? Oh no, we're gonna be late for the show.
Good. Don't even go.
Yeah, don't go.
It'll be better for everybody else.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number one. You don't have any honorable mentions?
No. I went back and forth a bunch, and I was like, man, do we do anything to pirates? No, they already did. It's just perfect. Like, I'm trying to think of dark rides and rides where it would work. I don't know. And you had a couple that I thought were great. I didn't even think of, like Grand Fiesta Tour is perfect, and Kali River Rapids.
Yeah.
Those two are both awesome choices. So I agree fully with those. I don't know why those did not pop into my head.
So I have two more that I haven't mentioned.
Sure.
One I'm going to call an honorable mention. The other one I'll call a dishonorable mention, like we used to do back in the day.
Yes.
The honorable mention, which is going to probably make people like, what are you doing? Space Mountain.
Oh, yeah, that's easy.
Space Mountain, I think. Now, the reason I didn't put it on there is because it can't be done. And it is, I want to see Space Mountain be some Marvel-themed ride. And I think an Iron Man, like, flying through the space there, through that whole inside spot, and using projections within that building, or using like on the ceiling, like bombs going off and stuff like that, or like whatever, you're escaping. It doesn't matter how you want to do it or what you want. Make it a Marvel themed ride. And they could do it with like you're on a Quinjet too. They could do that right now today, somehow.
Would they have the rights to that?
The Quinjet?
I don't know.
Isn't that? Why wouldn't they have the rights to that?
I thought what's the name of that's the ship that the Avengers use. So they probably don't own the rights to that.
Oh, you're right.
The one that Guardians use has a different name.
Yeah.
They name it after something that has to do with pop culture from the 80s.
Yeah. All right.
But I think
wrong.
the Quinjet they have in California, they have it up on top of.
Yeah, you're right.
But look up the name of what that ship is.
From
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
I know it's named something 80s, 70s pop culture reference.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, the ship from the sorry, let's see here. The Nova Corps made it. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter. The reality is that in the end, I think that they need to do something with that ride to make it more relevant. It is not that relevant.
They could redo the track, and it would be a whole
That's what I'm
lot
saying.
better.
So if they're going to shut it down to redo the track, why not make it a different? Like, why not theme it? And I could have gone the easy way and done Hyperspace Mountain, blah blah blah, whatever. But that's just one of them. And then my dishonorable mention. The reason I'm going to call it a dishonorable mention is because I think that Disney screwed up, and they should have just built a different ride instead of redoing this ride. And it's the ride that actually caused us to really think about doing this, and that is The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh yeah, we had this discussion the other day.
So I think they did the wrong thing there.
Yeah.
I want them to go backward, go back to the original, and so I get the chance to ride it. But I'll get a chance eventually. But I want to get a chance to ride it every year. So Mr. Toad's Wild Ride would be cool. So that's a dishonorable mention that they shouldn't have done it. They did it.
I have the names of. There's two different ships, and they're both funny 80s references, and they're both named after two women from the 80s.
I just saw this and I thought I was wrong.
Nope, one is the Benatar.
Yes, okay.
And the other is the Milano, like
Okay.
Alyssa Milano.
So I saw it and I was like,
Pat
I
Benatar.
must have looked up the wrong thing.
Nope.
Like,
That's
okay.
it. That's
Okay.
it. That's
All right.
hilarious.
All right. Okay. I was like, why is Alyssa Milano in this article about
That's why.
about Guardians? Okay. I looked it up, folks, and I was like, I'm not gonna say that. That's gonna make me sound stupid.
No, I know that's it.
Okay.
But
All right.
that would be cool though. I like your idea. Let's finish with that and having maybe the two ships, or because there's a lot of different characters that are coming up soon that are separate.
But they could use those now, today.
yes,
Do I want them to buy back the Marvel rights? Of course I do. And do I think Universal might be just on the precipice of saying, hey, guess what, guys?
we'll sell them back to you.
We'll sell 'em
'cause
back
we
to
want
you.
to make a fourth park.
Or because they want to redo that whole area.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's not good.
No.
It's not good.
But they could make it so many different things. Like
Yeah.
Minions is huge right now. They could do a whole Shrek land. Like
Well,
Shrek,
but they have the DreamWorks land.
they do, but I think I don't know if you know this or not. For some reason, Shrek has made an enormous underground resurgence with the youngins, the teens.
Really?
Yes. It's crazy. It's
With
true.
teens? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
There was a period where because I teach art, and I would say, okay, you could pick a character. Shrek came up more than anybody else, all the time. Always Shrek. Yeah.
I have a cousin we call Shrek. Just an off the. Sorry, that's a little bit off the rails, but
I guess that's worse than calling somebody Fiona.
yeah, probably.
That's
He thinks it's funny. He kind of. I mean, to be fair, he kind of looks like Shrek. I'm just kidding.
Is he listening?
I doubt it. But at least one of my brothers will listen to this and text me and be like, "Did you really just
true.
you just really just bring him up?" And it is what it is. So this was a fun one. It was good to get back to our roots a little bit and do a list here.
Yep.
I still want to thank everybody again for the messages they sent last week. Patreon, www.patreon.com/DizListPod to become a patron. You get early access to new episodes and mini episodes, which, that's another thing. We do 2 episodes a week, actually. We do this episode and then a mini episode. We did take 1 week off. We took last week off from Patreon. It's the first time in a year that we took one off. So, but for the most part, we're releasing those once a week.
Can I mention my drawing that I did?
Yeah.
So I did a drawing of the Hatbox Ghost that we put up on our Magic Merch store, magicmerch.art. And we're going to post a video of what the shirt looks like and my drawing. I'm very excited and very proud of it. So just showing off a little bit.
We've got a lot of stuff, but that's our design of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can also, if you don't like, so magicmerch.art is one way to get it. And you can also go to magicmerch77.etsy.com. You can get them through there just because some people are already on Etsy. And so it makes it easier
for Etsy
for some people.
Yeah.
Those are honestly, the shirt turned out really well. I'm actually wearing one of our designs today too.
You are
it's
too. Cool.
Buzz and Woody 2024 shirt.
Yeah.
That's my official endorsement of who I think should win the presidency.
Me too. It was Allen and Diggs, but I think Diggs dropped out.
Yeah, it's Keon Coleman now.
Yeah.
There you go, Rob. There's our Bills reference for the week. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. If you sign up, by the way, on patreon.com before the end of July, we'll be sending off a pin to you to thank you. It's a custom pin. It is limited edition. We will be sending those also out to our current patrons very shortly. We have to figure out exactly how we want to package them so the posts don't bend. So
and if you want to see what they look like, we did a post on social media recently, last week, week before.
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
And there's a photo of me proudly wearing it around school that particular day. And they're really cool. They're fun.
They are. So, but thanks again, and it's been a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.